Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is still the morning. I'm thinking it's already 1 o'clock in the afternoon, for crying out loud. No, we're still before noon, and we got ourselves a trade. And I'm just reacting to this one right off the bat here. Had to get set up and everything. Still processing this a little bit, so bear with me. Sonny Gray heading to the Red Sox. Is this the answer to the number 2 that they're looking for in the rotation? It's interesting. It's an interesting trade. It tells me a lot of different things. You know, we've been thinking for a while now, what about Joe Ryan? What about Freddie Peralta, Mackenzie Gore, guys like that? Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I've been on record saying, had the ship sailed on Joe Ryan, did they have their best chance for him at the trade deadline? I had people saying, oh, Robbie, they're definitely going to go get Ryan. They have the pieces for him. But then I'm thinking, all right, well, I'm listening to Derek Falvey of the Twins saying, hey, we kind of want to build around him. You got to remember, listen, you could say what you want about the Twins and how they had the fire sale, but they still have a lot of young talent over there, and they want to compete. Sure, to us, from the outside looking in, maybe it doesn't look like there's a whole lot there in Minnesota, but I thought there was a real chance that they could hang on to Joe Ryan. Now, listen, there's a lot of offseason left. Could other things happen here? Sure. I mean, that's the one thing. I just wonder, I'm looking at this right now, and I'm thinking to myself, could they do more for this rotation? Because Sonny Gray, very good, but he's only got 1 year left. Basically, he has the mutual option after next year. Also making a lot of money next year. The Red Sox, they are paying quite the penny for 1 year of Sonny Gray. I'll get to the breakdown of the contract here. I don't know, you would think there's probably not another move for the rotation. But I don't know. I can't help but think, could they do more there? Even though it might seem like they do have a lot of guys right now. We got to see the trade. I haven't seen the report. Anyway, I'm rambling here. Let's kind of get to this here. So, John Heyman, he put this out, and Sonny Gray heading to the Red Sox. Of course, I'm on my backup account. I'm on the Monster Territory account. Still don't have my Twitter account. Still hacked. Elon Musk, if you're out there, please help me out. But I don't know. This is interesting. I'm still not quite sure what to make of it. Again, if this is the number 2 the Red Sox have been looking for, it tells me a lot of what they think about the market. Joe Ryan, he was the guy, it felt like, right? It felt like the guy that you perfectly lined up for, but I don't know. I wonder now what the Twins are going to do in that department. Freddie Peralta was a guy that people kept bringing up. Bleacher Report just came out with, one of their many, many, many lists that they always come out with that are usually, in my opinion, not very good. They had Freddie Peralta number 1 of the Red Sox. I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't know if the Brewers want to move him. Would the Red Sox, I've been thinking here too, do the Red Sox want to go for basically a rental? I was thinking maybe they would want to go after a guy a bit more under control. But Freddie Peralta, it seems that the Brewers are indeed, at least at this point, probably wanting to hang on to him. So do the Red Sox maybe do a bit of a pivot here? Well, it seems like it. Joe Ryan, Freddie Peralta, Mackenzie Gore, you got Paul Taboni over there. But I've been speculating as well, saying, listen, Paul Taboni just went there. He is looking to, kind of see what's going on over there in Washington. Probably doesn't want to overreact and do any big moves right away. He could do that a little down the road. He needs to evaluate everything, just like Craig did when he came to the Red Sox. Took his time. He signed Lucas Giolito. Montgomery, he was kind of, obviously that was the name that we were all hoping to bring into Boston. Thank goodness that ended up not happening. But he ended up not really doing a whole lot. So Taboni, I could see him doing the same thing in Washington. So it kind of tells me that there was at least as of right now, again, you don't know what else could happen this offseason. But was this a pivot? It sure seems like it. Could they go after, another guy possibly? If I'm looking here at the rotation for the Red Sox, as of right now, I think Fangraphs has they have updated this now. Let's take a look-see. And they have not updated it. So I'm still looking for the trade. I don't know if we got the actual trade. Do we have the details? There is cash involved here. Did Jeff Passan put it out? Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, so there is cash. All right, so that's definitely going to help. All right, so Brandon Clark and Richard Fitz going to the Cardinals. Let me pull up the Passan tweet. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I was getting ready for this. I did not have time to look around. All right, so here's the trade. We need to see what the cash is going to be. But there is the trade. Sonny Gray and Samula heading to the Cardinals. Brandon Clark and Richard Fitz. Not surprised to see Richard Fitz there, to be completely honest with you. Because the Red Sox have a lot of depth. A lot of depth. You got a lot of guys looking for innings right now at the major league level. The Cardinals, they're looking, they're doing a bit of a reset there in St. Louis with Chaim Bloom in the fold. So, not surprised at all to see them bring in a young, cost-controlled starter in Richard Fitz. Sure, he had some issues this past year with injuries, but I imagine he's going to be okay moving forward. Brandon Clark, this is a pretty big piece for the Red Sox to give up. Now, with Brandon Clark, he did very well down in the minor leagues this year. A lot of strikeouts, good stuff from the left side. But he was having some issues when it came to the control. But this tells me that this is kind of showing what the direction the Cardinals are looking to go in. The Cardinals, historically, they've always been high floor pitcher kind of guys, right? Guys that can throw a lot of strikes, maybe not necessarily the best stuff over there. So you're seeing the direction changing for the Cardinals here. Brandon Clark is an example of that, where a guy that's got good velo, nasty stuff from the left side, but still needs to work on that control, right? He did very well this past year, so I'm not surprised to see the Cardinals get him back or want someone like him back. I need to see the cash because here is the trade. Let's pull it up here. Let's do this together here on Baseball Trade Values. I know a lot of you love BTV out there. I just know you do. I say that with sarcasm. But we need to see what the cash is going to be because player-wise, this is going to be a massive overpay when it comes to the value of the players. As you can see, I need to zoom out a little bit. Might be hard to see on the screen. I apologize. But as you can see, right around $24 million in surplus value going back to the Cardinals, negative 9.4 going back to the Red Sox. That's not an evaluation of the players. That's an evaluation of what their performance is on the field, a bunch of factors that go into that, projections, injury history, but also the contract. Sonny Gray is owed a lot of money here, so that's why you're getting that negative value. Sure, Sonny Gray is going to be a solid guy to have in the rotation, but the amount of money that he's getting, it's putting the value into the negatives. So something to keep in mind. Now, let's talk about Sonny Gray before we get to the actual trade here. Listen, this guy's been solid. He has been very solid over the last few years here. 32 starts this past year. ERA at a 4.28. I could see a lot of people out there thinking, ERA in the fours. Well, no, this stuff is very good. 3.39 on the FIP. Good strikeout to walk ratio. 10 strikeouts per nine. Under 2 walks per nine. So that ties right into what the Red Sox like. They like guys that can throw a lot of strikes. Gray was a little susceptible to the home run ball this past year, 1.25 home runs per nine. So, I like the addition of Sonny Gray. I do. I'm a big fan of Sonny Gray. The trade itself, I'm not really down on it necessarily. Because you didn't really need Richard Fitz because you already have a lot of guys. He was injured. He had injuries last year. Brandon Clark, I'm not sad over losing Brandon Clark, to be completely honest with you, because obviously guys like Peyton Tolley, Connolly Early emerged this past year. So I thought someone like Clark was expendable. I don't know. I just feel like there's, in a way, it sort of feels a bit underwhelming. Not the picture in Gray. I like the addition of him. But I was kind of hoping for a guy with maybe a bit more control, someone that you'd have for the next couple of years. I'm how do I don't even know how to explain it. It's really just the overall package. I was hoping for a bit more. Like for example, Dylan Cease. He's gonna, be a guy that you're gonna have for the long haul. I was hoping to acquire someone that could be with the Red Sox for a little while. Now, with Gray, he does have a mutual option, but mutual options rarely get exercised. I don't know if the Red Sox, again, we got to see the full details of the trade, but I don't know, $30 million mutual option. I have a hard time seeing the Red Sox doing that. He's 36 years old now. Just turned 36, so he'll be 37. Are they going to pay $30 million for Sonny Gray in his age 37 season? I don't know. So I'm happy with getting Gray for a year. We could also go look here at what the expected home runs would be at Fenway Park over on StatCast. I believe because of the Green Monster, that's going to ding those down a little bit. Yeah, well, not that much, actually. Wow, okay. Not even that much. I gave up 25 home runs this past year. The expected home run rate with the Red Sox would have been 24, so really not a big difference. The one thing with StatCast, a lot of pictures, their home runs go down because of the Green Monster, because that'll eat up possible home runs in other ballparks, but not really a big change there. So that's interesting. Very interesting. But if you're taking a look at just the overall numbers with Gray, he's still getting a lot of swing and miss, still getting a lot of guys to chase out of the zone, throws a lot of strikes. I do love that he is a guy that's going to throw a ton of strikes. He's not going to walk anyone. 5% walk rate this past year, that was elite. Is Chris Cotillo saying a large amount of money is coming back? Okay, well this, again, I need to see the cash. That's something that's going to be a big deal here, because right now, you got to remember, when you make a trade, the AAV of the player resets. So if he's making, 35 this year? Well, yeah, then the AAV would be 35, and that's a big dent on the Red Sox payroll for this year. So I need to see what the cash is going to be. All right, Chris Cotillo. Let me pull him up here. Let's see. Okay, Cotillo is saying Yoshida is not in it. That's another thing I was wondering about. Could this be a bigger trade? We were just talking about Brendan Donovan last night here on the show. I was thinking, hey, that he could be a pretty solid option if you don't bring back Bregman. I thought to myself, is this like a big old monster blockbuster deal where Sonny Gray and Brendan Donovan are coming aboard? But, so the fact that Yoshida is not in it, I think we can finally put that to rest. We had a lot of people coming up with that idea last offseason. So here we go. Gray had to waive his no-trade clause. So that was a thing. Remember last offseason, Sonny Gray, he was saying, there was speculation of whether or not he would waive his no-trade clause because he had just signed with the Cardinals, right? Let's see. The high cost suggests that the Red Sox are receiving a large amount of cash. Well, so Cotillo, he's not necessarily saying here that they are getting a lot of cash, but he's saying it suggests that they could be, which I would think, but you never know. I mean, who knows? $20 million is what Cotillo's reporting? Oh, that's a lot. Where is that? Oh, he just posted it. The Red Sox are receiving $20 million from the Cardinals. Well, okay, so that brings the trade a little bit more even. Here we go, $20 million. But it's still a bit of an overpay from the Red Sox side. But this is where, now if we validate the trade, it is rejected by baseball trade values. The This is one of those trades where I think the Red Sox, they had a luxury here where they had a lot of depth when it came to the pitching within the organization. Brandon Clark, in my opinion, was an expendable pitching prospect. Richard Fitz, he was kind of in that glut of depth starters, right? Especially when Cutter Crawford and Patrick Sandoval are coming back this year. It's kind of one of those where, sure, numbers-wise, doesn't really line up very well, but there's philosophical things coming into play here where the Red Sox, they could, get a bit more aggressive here. So that makes me wonder, the fact that they paid a pretty decent price for Gray in terms of a very good pitching prospect in Brandon Clark, Fitz, a guy that has shown he can be reliable for you. Kind of makes me wonder what the price was going to be for someone like Joe Ryan or Freddie Peralta. So I think this was a pivot. At least as of right now. I mean, I'm kind of having a hard time seeing. I mean, you never know how the offseason is going to go. But I am having a bit of a hard time seeing where they would add someone else at this point unless. I mean, I still think you could. But you got to think here. You got Tolley. You got Early. Crawford, Sandoval coming back. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw someone like Cutter Crawford or maybe even Sandoval get moved. I don't know. Don't think it's completely out of the question. But now I shift my focus to the lineup, to be honest with you. This is where I'm starting to pay attention to, where I think the Red Sox could be saving their bullets to find a bat for the lineup. Could it be someone like Ketel Marte? I mean, I don't know. You just did the deal with the Cardinals. I think the Red Sox are still figuring out what's going to happen with Bregman. But this tells me that they could be saving ammo for a trade for a bat. It's kind of what I think, to be honest. Because we got the report not too long ago from Alex Spear, as well as John Morosi, saying that the Red Sox are most likely, the suspicion is that they're going to be looking for one premium bat. Alex Bregman or Pete Alonso / Kyle Schwarber, right? I talked about it last night. I think if you are going to go one or the other, I would love to have Bregman back, but the Red Sox need power in the lineup. And so that's where I wonder, do they focus their attention on bringing back Schwarber to get a lot of pop in the middle of the order that they lacked last year, especially after trading Rafi? I mean, they need power. They need it. And that kind of makes me wonder, if they're going to go after just one, is Bregman gone? I don't know. And then you could use the ammo you have within the organization to go land a bat like Ketel Marte, possibly. If he's available. I don't know if he's going to be available. I don't know. People, they love throwing out the Ketel Marte, mock trades. Will the D-backs trade him? I'm not so sure about that. But they could possibly go do that. It's funny because we were just talking about Brendan Donovan last night, and I was even throwing out, the possibility, could they go after, or could the Cardinals be interested in, Casas in return, right? Something along those lines. And then, hey, you end up making a move with the Cardinals. So I said this last night too. Just because Chaim Bloom, he's got sour grapes with the Red Sox, that he can't let that hold him back from making a possible deal with them. So there you go. Chaim Bloom, he is okay to making a trade with the Red Sox. So what do we got going on here in the chat? Phoenix, won't get into it, but I don't think Marte is going anywhere. I'm kind of with you, man, to be honest. It's kind of one of those, I'll believe it when I see it. He's a really good player on a very good contract in today's game. I have a hard time seeing the Diamondbacks giving that up. If it happens, all right. But I got to see it. You're saying here contract is friendly. D-backs need pitching in the worst way. Yeah, it's kind of That's the only way I could maybe see it because the Red Sox, they have a lot of pitching. So if they were to send back someone like Duran or Abreu with pitching, maybe. But again, I don't know. I just think there's little factors that come into play even for both sides. You can look at it from the Red Sox point of view too. Oh, well, we're taking on his contract for the next 5 years. We don't want to have to give up Peyton Tolle, or Connolly early. I mean, we're taking on his contract. Even though it's a good contract, I could see that leverage coming into play. Brett Baseball, Tristan Breslow, he's got more moves. Yeah. This is only the start. There's a lot of offseason left. You need bats in the lineup, and obviously you need 2 bats, in my opinion. Are you going to get them both in free agency? Well, Alex Spear saying, probably not. Again, I think the trade market is going to be the way to go. I talked about this after we got that report. I was thinking to myself, like, hey, there will be bats available. We'll see. Corbin, I'm ready to see whether they use Duran or Wilyer to go after another pitcher or a big time hitter. Yeah, that's kind of been the one thing we've been talking about with Duran as well, right? He could be the perfect guy to use to land a number 2. Well, it looks like, at least as of right now, you have gotten your number 2. So Duran. Again, maybe you could do a Ketel Marte thing. I don't know. Duran and some pitching. Maybe. Or Duran and some pitching, I'll be honest. I can't help but wonder, too. The Red Sox, they keep talking about the outfield surplus as being something that's a positive. You've had all the reports out there from, the beat reporters saying like, oh, the Red Sox, they have to move one of these guys, right? The Red Sox themselves have come out and said, it's not a bad thing to have. It helped last year. Roman went down. The one area that I could see the Red Sox, if they were to keep all of these guys, Duran, Wilyer, obviously Seti and Roman, is they move on from Yoshida. And then they just use the DH spot as for flexibility. But then again, I don't know. If you bring in Schwarber, then one of them would have to go. So that's where Alonso, I think, fits. I think Alonso, if you were to move on from Massa, that could be a way to keep all of your outfielders. And then Alonso slides into first base. And then Casas, whatever happens with him, happens with him. So, I don't know. Phoenix, I did see the report on JT Realmuto. Listen, I love JT Realmuto. I think that's a guy that he would be great for any clubhouse out there. He'd be great for the pitching staff. I don't know. I just don't really see it. Sure, would he be an upgrade over Connor Wong? Yeah, of course he would. But Carlos Narvaez is your starter. And I think the Red Sox avoiding arbitration with Connor Wong, I think, says a lot about what they think of Connor Wong, to be honest. The fact that they got that done and they could have went to arbitration and they probably could have won too. And they said, no, let's just get a deal done. I think they like having Connor Wong in the fold. I think there's a lot of intangibles that he brings, especially with the pitching staff. So I don't know. I don't see Realmuto, honestly. I really don't. I could be wrong, of course. I don't know. Fit-wise, I just don't really see it. We'll see. Yeah, Phoenix Tech loves Wong. I'm telling you, I think Wong is he's one of those guys that we look at the stat sheet and we're like, huh? Like, what are we looking at here, right? But I think he just brings a good brain for the Red Sox behind the scenes, right? I think he just brings that. Kind of like, I'm not going to compare him to Austin Hedges because Austin Hedges is an amazing defender. But Hedges is not really going to give you anything with the bat, but he keeps finding jobs, right? Because he's just so valuable in the little ways, especially defensively, and he's great with pitching staffs. And I think Wong has a bit of that with it. And Wong, too, he's an athletic catcher. He's a guy that you're comfortable with rounding the bases. He brings a lot of little things that I think go overlooked. So, Poppy J, I have a good feeling this year they want to go all in. Listen, we got a lot more moves. We got a lot more moves to do, to get done. We'll see, but this is a good first step, and I'm glad they got something done before the winter meetings. And I actually wonder here if the fact that they got this done more than 2 weeks before the winter meetings shows an urgency to say, hey, you know what? Let's get the rotation addressed now. Let's stop fooling around with, the Twins and the Brewers for Joe Ryan and Peralta. Sonny Gray's available. Let's go get him. We'll have him for this year. Maybe we could figure something out with the mutual option for after that. I think this showed an urgency with the Red Sox to get this rotation figured out. And that now they can focus their attention on the big bats. Because in the end, right, yes, we needed a number 2 for the rotation. But you do have a lot of pitching in the fold. What you lack in the organization is a power hitter. Casas could be that guy, but that's a key word, could. They don't have anyone like that. Pitching staff, you got a lot of options there. Big bat, not necessarily. So I think they want to put their attention on going after Alonso, going after Schwarber, maybe making a trade for a bat out there. That's kind of what I'm thinking here. I'm seeing urgency with this move to get something done before you let opportunities go by, right? Because I'm thinking to myself, all right, Sonny Gray, obviously if they just got a move done for him, I'm sure other teams are calling about Sonny Gray. So they probably saw, okay, hey, we have a chance here. Let's go get this guy. And let's not, shoot ourselves in the foot later on by hanging on and pausing and hoping for Ryan or Peralta. Instead, let's just go get Gray, who we know is going to be solid for us. And now let's go address the more important need with the lineup. Edwin, I disagree. I don't think he's a 4 or 5. I really don't. I disagree on that. Sonny Gray, this is a guy where he's going to improve the swing and miss in the rotation. He's going to throw a lot of strikes. He's going to get guys to chase. This is what the Red Sox lacked. That's another thing to add about Sonny Gray. They lacked this in the rotation last year, swing and miss. And I believe the Red Sox, what were they, like 15th in strikeouts last year when it came to their starting pitching? Let's see. Yes, the Red Sox were 15th with their starting pitching last year when it came to strikeouts per 9. I disagree that he's a 4 in this rotation. VW Tech. I disagree. I don't think he's a 3 or 4. I think he's the legit number 2. He is definitely a step ahead of Bayo because he gets more strikeouts. Cutter Crawford is a 4 or 5 in this rotation. Patrick Sandoval, I don't know. I'm seeing you guys saying he's a 3. Well, then who's the 2? As of right now, who is the 2? Edwin, Bayo is not better because Bayo doesn't strike out guys. Paul, you're saying he's a 3 right now. We don't have a 2. I disagree. He is a 2 in my opinion. I do think yes, there it is. Poppy J. As of right now, he is 2. He is the number 2 in this rotation right now. Could you say he's a 3 in another rotation? Sure. In this rotation, right now, he's a 2. And I disagree. Brian Bayo is not a 2. Last year, Brian Bayo was a 3 at best because he doesn't get strikeouts. He doesn't get swing and miss. You saw it in the postseason. Brian Bayo, Game 2, was Brian Bayo a number 2 in Game 2 in the postseason? No, he was not. He couldn't even make it through 3 innings. A number 2 is a guy that can get you further into a Game 2. Brian Bayo is not a number 2. I'm sorry, I disagree with anyone that is saying Brian Bayo is a number 2. He is not a number 2. Evidence, go look at the Yankees game 2 in the wild card round. So, I like Sonny Gray. I've always been a fan of him. He's also a competitor. He's a bulldog out there. I like him a lot. He had a good year last year. He's been very solid the last couple of years. And, going back here, and that's another thing, too. He's going to give you innings. He's thrown at least 165 innings over the last 3 years. 10 strikeouts per 9, 2 walks per 9. Under a home run per 9 the last 3 years. ERA in the mid-3s. FIP, low 3s. Yeah. I'm very happy with Sonny Gray, to be honest. It's again, I'm not down on the player. It was more. No, I was hoping maybe for a bit more, but that's okay. Maybe I'm being a bit greedy. So the player himself, I like Sonny Gray a lot. So I think it's a good addition. But I've given you my thoughts here at this point, really. Now you got to think about what's going to happen with the lineup. Now, I'll get back to this when it comes to the rotation. Unless they move some guys, I'll say this. I'm not going to close the book on the Red Sox adding more to this rotation. That might seem a little silly to say because they have a lot of guys. And getting back to what some of you were saying in the chat, Sonny Gray is a 3. He could be. If you go after, let's say a Joe Ryan trade is still possible, or Dylan Cease in free agency. Well, then, yeah, in that situation, Gray would be your 3, in my opinion. I just wonder. But then again, you have so much depth. I don't know. I don't know if you're going to add more. But could you? You could. So I won't shut the door. And I agree. Poppy J, I like early at number 5. Yeah, I don't know why they have Patrick Sandoval and Cutter Crawford in here. As of right now, I would be putting Connolly early in one of these spots. But Fangraphs, they just plug guys in and then they take care of it later on. So I think Peyton Tolley is going to be in this mix in some way, shape, or form at some point during the season. So Dilkor, Gray should be a 3. Now, I think that is a better way to put it. Should Sonny Gray be the 3? I think there's an argument that he should be the 3, and you go get a guy that is a tick better, right? If you really want to maximize the top of the rotation, then yeah, if you go get Dylan Cease, for example, Crochet, Cease, and Gray is your 1, 2, 3, then yes, I agree. Gray would be the 3. And should be the 3 in that situation. But right now, as we have it on paper, he is the 2. Right now. We'll see. I'm not going to completely close the book on the Red Sox adding more to the rotation. Not going to close the book on it. Do I think it's likely? Probably not. But I won't shut the door. I think a bat, that's the big need, and I think this move shows that that's what they're going to be focusing on as the winter meetings draw closer. I wouldn't be surprised at all if you start seeing some motion here over the next week, because a lot of times teams, they like to try and really ramp things up when it comes to negotiations, and then at the winter meetings, we've seen time and time again where they close the deal. Right? So you still got over a week until the winter meetings are going to be underway, right? December 7th, that's when all the teams are going to be flying in. I will be at the winter meetings, by the way. I will be there. I am very excited for that. So it would be really nice if I could get my Twitter back, though, because I would really like to if I got a scoopy scoop or something, I'd love to report it. I'd love to break it. But I don't got my Twitter. I got my backup Twitter. But what can you do? What do we got here? I'm going to wrap things up here in a minute. Paul, do I need a camera guy? No, I won't need a camera guy because I'm just gonna have my good old phone. So that's where when I've gone to the games in Tampa, I don't know if anyone here has seen me in Tampa pregame, but I have my dumb little tripod, and then I got my phone that I put on top of the tripod, and then I just set it up, and that's it. But I might need some help. So if you are there and you see me, let me know. Jacob, Gray is not a good pitcher. I disagree. I think Gray's a good pitcher. I think he's a good pitcher. Coach, Sonny Gray for the QO is pretty great. I agree. I think the fact that how about the Cardinals, right? Paying down this much money? I mean, man, and that's also great. And I'm also not factoring in what the payroll is going to look like here. So I don't think they've updated this here on Fangraphs. Maybe Red Sox payroll has updated it. I'm sure he has. Let's see. Has he updated the payroll sheet? He has. Oh, there we go. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, so Gray is going to be a $21 million hit for the AAV. And that's very good. That's very good, I think. So it's only for 1 year. Mutual option again. I don't know if that's going to get exercised. It does make me wonder. I keep repeating myself. I apologize. But if they went after one more guy, how far are they willing to take the payroll? So if they go after, say, Dylan Cease, who's probably going to be right around $30 million per year, I don't know. Is that going to be something the Red Sox want to do? Spending $50 million on two pitchers? I don't know. Morosi. What is Morosi saying? What does he got? What is Morosi saying? The Diamondbacks are actively listening. He says here the Blue Jays and the Phillies have checked in. I mean, I wonder if we get to the point where the D-backs, where they might have to say yes to something. I don't know. I wonder if the Red Sox could maybe position themselves to do something here. I'll say this. If you end up with your offseason, if you get Sonny Gray for the rotation, if you get Ketel Marte and a power bat like Alonso or Schwarber, I think that is an extremely successful offseason, to be completely honest. I mean, that's a lot to ask for, but I think the Red Sox could maybe get in that mix. I don't know. I will say this, if you do get Marte, I think that spells the end for Bregman in Boston. So we'll see. If you bring back Bregman, you're probably not going to get Alonso or Schwarber. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that's just speculation and that's not actual fact. But if you bring back Bregman, I don't know, because you got Marcelo Meyer in the fold. Meyer, if Bregman comes back, I think Meyer would be the second baseman. So then where do you go for power at first base with, say, Kazuma Okamoto? I don't know. So I just wonder. Poppy, I think Bregman is key for the playoff mentality we had. I agree. I think Bregman just brings that good performance, but also the intangibles. That's why I like Bregman a lot. Diego. Oh, crap. I just clicked out of the chat. Diego, you're saying here, Gray's getting older, but last year over 20-plus starts, the last 5 years, good consistency at least. Yeah, I agree. I agree. He's been a guy, and you only have to pay him for a guaranteed 1 year. So it's not like you're tied into a long-term deal with him. So I think value-wise, cost-wise, I think that's a good buy. I think it also suggests that the Red Sox, the fact that they only wanted to get Gray for 1 year, does that show what they're looking to do this offseason, where they don't want to get tied up into a whole bunch of long-term things? And they're being, what's the right word I'm looking for? And they're being disciplined. And they're not just going 5-year deal for you, 7-year deal for you, 10-year deal for you. So kind of makes me think, they don't want to get themselves locked into a whole bunch of stuff, right? So Gray for 1 year. But yeah, I think the chances of them going after Alonso or Schwarber or Bregman, they're very high. We'll see. Maine, does Meyer start on our roster in 2026? I think if Marcelo Meyer is healthy, I think he will be a starter, either at third base or second base. That's what I think. Coach, what of the other addition is Eflin? I don't see Eflin. I've wanted Eflin in the past, and the Red Sox wanted Eflin in the past too, right before the Rays beat him out. I like Eflin, but I don't see the Red Sox going after him. I think they're looking for more top of the rotation guys. Paul, will the Red Sox try for Imai? I don't think so. I mean, maybe, possibly. My gut says probably not. I hope I'm wrong because I like Imai. That'd be great if you got him too. I'd love that. Poppy J, if we don't get Bregman, we need Bichette. That's where I think if you don't bring back Bregman, that's where you need to get a good quality bat on the ball kind of a guy. A guy that can work the strike zone, or he understands the strike zone. He can work the counts. He can draw the walks, right? Puts the bat on the ball. That's why I thought Brendan Donovan would have been a great fit if if he doesn't come back, right? Bringing Donovan with a power bat, and I think you're cooking. Yeah, Brett Baseball, love that MI wants to beat the Dodgers and not join them. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. I feel good about my prediction with the Giants, my free agent predictions every year. I went with the Giants for MI. I'm feeling pretty good about that one right now. Hey, if he wants to beat the Dodgers, well, he can beat the Dodgers a lot in division if he goes to San Francisco. We'll see. But, everyone, I think those are kind of my thoughts here. I'll wrap this up. I think it says a lot of things about the direction of the Red Sox. I think they probably poked around. I think they looked at guys like Joe Ryan and Freddie Peralta, maybe Mackenzie Gore too, and they thought, we're probably not going to pull these deals off. We need to go after a guy that we know is available, and we need to go get him while we have the chance. And I think they pulled the trigger before, instead of dancing around and hoping for the best, and they hope player A becomes available, player B becomes available. I think they just said, nope, let's not waste our time. Let's get Sonny Gray. He's going to be the number 2, at least as of right now. But I also think this says, too, that because they wanted to get this addressed in the rotation, the bigger need is the lineup. Winter meeting's not too far away. I think they wanted to save their best bullets for trade assets, for a possible trade for a bat. I think they want to use their money for a more long-term contract for a bat. So I'm not sure if Dylan Cease is going to be an option. But this tells me that the bigger need is that big old bat in the middle of the order. So, Brett Baseball, exactly. Brezzo learned from the trade deadline, and he was proactive. Yeah, I completely agree. I agree. I think he just went out there, and he was decisive, and he got a deal done a week and a half before the winter meetings. So, that's where I'm at. But I think this is a good sign for the middle of the order. I think they're going to go after they're going to go out there, and they're going to go after a big bat. So, they now have the time and the resources, trade or through free agency, to go land someone like Schwarber or Alonso or bring back Bregman, one of those guys, and then add another complementary piece. Bregman, you could add someone for first base like Okamoto. If you bring in Alonso or Schwarber, for the power. You can go after, maybe revisit the Cardinals and talk about Brendan Donovan. Maybe you can go to the Diamondbacks and talk about Ketel Marte. So that's kind of where I think the Red Sox, they're setting themselves up to be in a good position here to get some deals done for the lineup. But everybody, those are my thoughts. Again, I like the move of Sonny Gray. I've always been a big fan. I think he's solid. He's a competitor. I think Boston is going to love him. He's going to go out there and compete. He's a hard on his sleeve kind of a guy. I think Boston's going to love that. It's only for 1 year as of right now, but I think Sonny Gray is a solid addition. I didn't think it was an option that the Red Sox were going to be looking for. I was looking more at guys that would be under a bit more control. But hey, if this means that they can go out there and they can invest more at their comfort to bring in a bat, then hey, I'm all right with Sonny Gray. So, Boston sports fan, Gray is the replacement for Giolito. I wouldn't say he's the replacement. He does replace him in the rotation. I would say he's an upgrade over Giolito. By far. He gets way more strikeouts. Yeah, I think he's an upgrade over Giolito. So, and that's another good point, Poppy J. Sonny Gray might have that Yankee hate in him. Hey, something to think about. Something to think about right there. That's a good point. When I first saw the move, I was like, oh, yeah, remember he was with the Yankees not too long ago. So, sport gaming news, you need a true number 2. Hey, we'll see what ends up happening, but if Sonny Gray ends up being the 2, I'm all right with it. Could you do better? Yeah, maybe a little better, but I think Sonny Gray is very good. So, I'm out of here, everybody. If you're kind of the way out, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.